got me to marriage and they're like confused or I don't know. It's okay. I mean, it's okay. We came in.
We are looking for.
Yeah, but then I was like, finally, I get to be with this guy.
Nice.
It's not like.
How long did you court? Hey, great people! Thank you for joining us. I am Chidi Akunna.
And I'm Victor Akunna.
Hey, if you're new to our channel, Foundation for Family Affairs, please do not fail to subscribe and turn on the bell next to it so you're notified when we drop our content. At Foundation for Family Affairs, our mission is to connect hearts and raise healthy families. You want to watch the interview we have for you today? We'll be looking into the lives of an amazing, intentional, and a couple very dear to us. We love this couple, and there's so much to unpack from their lives. You will find out shortly. We have Drs Gospel and Amara Amaugo from the Relationship Builders firm. We'll be having a sneak peek into their lives today to see just what makes them tick. Why do they glow the way they do? There's a secret behind it.
Yeah.
So you want to join us for this ride? It promises to be an exciting one, so you want to watch it to the end. Stay tuned. Okay, so we'll have you introduce yourselves. Tell us about yourselves, what you do. I know you wear many hats, but please,
okay,
the ball is in your court.
Ladies first, you.
After men. Okay, anyways, I was just joking.
After men when it's convenient.
You go.
Anyways, thank you so much for having us. I feel like we're on a hot seat. Although we're sitting on something really comfy, but we'll try our best. So, like you said, my name is Amara, and I co-host with my beloved husband on Relationship Builders Forum. And this is a forum where we talk about love, sex, and relationship. I mean, this is something we love. We're passionate about this, right? So, career-wise, I'm a lecturer, he's a lecturer, and that's what we do. And we just go about impacting lives. But I think today, fundamentally, we are focused on relationships.
Yeah. And
So I don't
also offer as well.
Oh, yes. He's an author.
Yeah, we authored a book together. So, the point of it is that our passion is to reach singles and married so they can have the best relationship. And we don't just talk about it, we try our best to live that life of enjoying a marital relationship. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Okay, let's talk about the first few years of your marriage. What were those years like?
Well, do you want me to start?
Yeah, you can start.
I think they were more formative years. So, like a baby, marriage for us was pretty much new. And we came in optimistic.
Excited?
Yeah, and a lot of people come into marriage and they're like confused or I don't know. It's okay. I mean, it's okay. We came in.
We are looking for.
Yeah, but then I was like, finally, I get to be with this guy.
Nice.
It's not like.
How long did you court?
How long? I've known him. I came up. We knew ourselves from the university.
Yeah,
days.
I think we were in a relationship for almost more than 7 years.
Yeah, actually.
And you looking forward to it?
Oh my goodness. It wasn't like, just 1 hour talking or maybe on the phone or maybe I see him somewhere, maybe I traveled somewhere and I saw him. Now this is both of us together. Right? So I was actually excited. In fact, I haven't danced as I danced on my wedding day since. Because it was such a thing that I was anticipating. Like, I'm going to be with this guy. So for me, it was going into marriage with so much, I was hopeful, I was optimistic, and I felt, okay, now let's do this. What are we doing? Like, we're supposed to be working together on something. Let's do it.
Yeah, before you go on, I think one of the reasons we had that confidence, the faith, the positivity to go into marriage, because we talked about virtually everything. It talks about what we will do together. What we are doing now, we've talked about
before.
So we knew we didn't have the money, we didn't have the material things, we were not 100% sure of what the future held for us.
But we had each other.
We had each other and we believed that just with each other, And
Who
where
can't
we are
carry
going,
one?
nothing.
Absolutely
Nothing will stop
nothing.
us.
Yeah, because I just felt I didn't see any challenge. Like, yeah, it's a challenge, right? But gospel is there, right? We're gonna do it together. And for me, I think still every time I have to relive the experience or think about it in my mind, I always smile about it. And even now, I don't think it's as exciting as it was many years ago, you know, when we really didn't have so much. I felt that those years were really exciting, and I always believe and think about it with the feeling of, you know, nostalgia. You know, I just think about it, and for me, it's amazing. I came into marriage expectant. We came into marriage planning. Came to marriage, you know, what are we going to do now? Okay, what's going to be the next thing? So it was a very healthy entrance. It was a very healthy, you know, introduction to marriage, and it was beautiful, still beautiful. I mean,
Yeah, if I would add to that, it wasn't necessarily that everything was perfect.
laid out.
We had issues, we had challenges, financial challenges, we had different challenges, we had misunderstanding as well. We still do, but then one of the things that helped us at that early stage was we had an agreement on how to deal with issues, and being mature before getting married helps as well, because
Not in terms of age, though.
no, not age in this sense. I'm looking at emotional maturity in the holistic approach to it, where you know that you're in it for a long time or for life, and what someone does not mean that the person doesn't love you. And once you see it that way, it would help, and that's how we dealt with it. So, for instance, if I offended my wife, she would know that I didn't do it to hurt her. It was me being human, being imperfect. So we'll always come back to talk about it.
Yeah.
And as a man, I didn't have issues with saying I'm sorry if I'm sorry. So, yes, so conflict management was good.
And we had a strategy.
We had a strategy. That's what I was saying. We had a strategy. We have to talk about it early. And then the issue of finance, we were open about it.
Yeah, we were.
I know someone who advised me, never tell your wife how much you have. But we talked about marriage that...
I also had the advice
Okay.
that I should have a separate bank account for rainy days, and don't let your husband know about it.
Okay.
So with that bank account, you can help out, you know, just make sure he's not aware.
Okay.
So we both had, you know, sort of...
Don't
So
go
you
there.
would have come in shielding.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
But again, my experience growing up was such that my dad had all the money. My mom didn't know how much he had at the time, and we've had that conversation to say this is not how we're going to approach finance. We have to be open, and that helped us. So if we're having financial challenges, I was aware of what was going on. She was aware of what was going on.
Yeah.
And the issue of having children
Yeah,
now
absolutely.
came into the mix.
Yeah, it did.
Because we expected that one day we should have children. Highest 2 years.
But then,
It didn't happen.
yeah,
And we waited for
a while.
a while before it happened. So those are the things we experienced at the early stage of our marriage.
Awesome. You've been quite vulnerable there. We appreciate that. Okay. So, has having a child affected your romance and intimacy? Before then, let me just give some context. I know it took you a number of years to have a child, before having a child. You've told us those years where you enjoyed those years. You were happy, right? Regardless. So, has having a child rocked your romance?
Our boats, our romance boats.
Can I talk a little bit about it?
You can.
Now, let me state something here. So, as it has to do with intimacy and romance, it got to a point, and I have to say this, you know, it got to a point where before we had the child, that was like a chore. You know, like being together as man and wife was really like on a clock. It had to be
at some point though.
Yeah, at some point, because you know it felt like it wasn't happening, and then we then, or me, I would say, not you, because you're a different species. So for me, it was like, okay, I had to be sure it's a safe, I'm in my safe period, or when is it, when am I, ovulating, for example. And I remembered moments that I would wake up, maybe I was so tired and I slept off, and I would turn to him, why didn't you wake me up? Now we've missed the chance, the window, we've missed it. And then it became like, and I can still hear, what he said to me then was, we need to be enjoying this. It's not supposed to be work. It's not supposed to be a chore. We're supposed to, okay, what if we don't have children? Are we not going to enjoy our lives? And I couldn't at the time get his philosophy. Because I felt this guy he doesn't get it. Like, he doesn't get it. So I would say for me, towards the later part of waiting, it affected me really. And I felt like, when I had to be with my husband, together, I felt it was just, we had to do it. Yes, we had to do it because we had to do it. Yes.
Because you were looking to get something out of it.
Yeah, so all the preambles of, setting up the candle, please, can we just do this? And then it got to a point where I had to constantly put myself in a certain position because I was advised that was the position that was best to make sure things happen.
Okay, thank you.
I just felt, why don't you want me to speak now?
No.
I was feeling like, why do I have to do this thing? It affected me. I'm being honest.
I'm not saying you're not being honest, but I am saying that
what you shared is helpful.
Yeah, it is helpful because actually it got to a point where it became a prayer point for me. Not because I desperately wanted a child, but because I was praying, I love this my wife so much. And this is something that she really, really wants, and something we want. Say, God, if you could just do this for my wife. Because if it was in my power to do at that point, I would want to break all barriers to do it, because it's something, she has that nature to take care of a child, maternal instincts, and all of those, full of energy, full of life, and trying to pour it into someone else, and you're not having that opportunity to do that. And that's one of the ways it became a problem. But my philosophy around it was, marriage is not about having children, first and foremost. Marriage is about two people coming together to build their life, to fulfill purpose. And purpose is beyond having children. You don't have to be married to have children. There are so many people who have children who are not married. We don't advise people to have children without being married. But you can look at it that it's not the end in itself, having children. But children are part of the lessons that come into it. But the point I want to highlight is, if you're married, whether you have children or not, you can't have everything. Enjoy your marriage. Enjoy the person that you're connected to, because you're supposed to build life together. And once you start enjoying it, because in our case, we got to that point where we agreed, child or no child, this is our marriage. We wouldn't hide, we would enjoy our life. And it was at that point where we stopped focusing on having this thing that happened.
Exactly.
It became a miracle that happened, and she was even surprised because she wasn't expecting it at that point.
I wasn't.
So for someone listening to us now who is, it might not be a child, it might be finance. Maybe you want to relocate from your environment to a new environment, and you're putting pressure on your spouse because you really want this. Things will happen at the right time.
True.
Enjoy every moment of your relationship. Because if you lose this person, because you put so much mental pressure on this person, you lose that person, you've lost someone forever. And you can't replace
Even
value
of that person.
of that person.
Even after you have that
Yes.
child or whatever it is.
Exactly.
Yes.
Some people are at the point of looking for something. Not necessarily the person is dead, but they've lost the relationship. They might be living together, but they've lost that person emotionally. If you lose that relationship because you're looking for something,
Yeah.
there's no balance. You can't enjoy it. And let me also say, from my experience, marriage is one of the most beautiful experiences
Ever. Yeah.
because it's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
It is
I tell you
beautiful.
for sure.
We agree.
It is beautiful. Now, touching on your question,
Yeah.
how it happened after we had a child.
Mm.
I would say for me, motherhood was a blessing, but it came with a lot of responsibilities. And I would say maybe for the first year, I was like focused on my son. And yes, we worked on him together, but emotionally, I was so invested. And maybe at that time, I had a project I hadn't finished. And with him coming on board, yes, our sort of romance was a bit.
No, I don't
Was it?
agree with you.
You don't?
Maybe you forgot.
But for me, it was.
No, I can tell you for sure that it did not affect our relationship.
It did affect me as a woman.
The reason it affected you, which is a natural thing for most women,
Okay.
is because you had a baby.
Yeah,
And for me, I understood your position at that point.
sure.
Because you don't expect someone who just had a baby to. If we go back to our definition of romantic, because we are looking at one angle to it,
Yeah,
we are consistent in our love action.
true.
We are consistent in doing those little things that brought us to where we were at the point and where we are today.
Yeah,
So I don't think it affected us that much because we talked about it even before we got married that the child is not more important than us. It is us that
True.
got the child.
true.
So we had to invest in it together.
Yeah,
Because I realized that most times women are the ones who invest in their children
more.
emotionally and all that. And the man will feel isolated. And our strategy was, as a man,
Let's do it.
I will be in it. Let's do the investment together.
Absolutely.
In the process,
We
we
were
are
connected.
connected.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we stayed connected.
Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
true.
Okay.
I
That's
like, sorry,
okay. Go
I
ahead.
like the fact that you said you understood what was required, and that was so good. So you were ready to support her.
Yeah.
Really good.
Spot on.
Good.
Spot on. Yeah, no, that's fine because that's why without that understanding, that's why when people go through transitions, they instead of communicating and saying how can I connect with this, they said no, all right. So since you're no longer interested, in
Let
me,
me let you.
yeah, let me let you, and that let me let you move from 3 months to 6 months to 1 year.
And then
girls
So the
pattern.
guy that becomes to look for something to distract you.
True.
And that's how some people now end when they didn't plan to go that way.
Yeah.
They just said 3 months, let me just let them bond. From 3 months it became a pattern like, okay, I can actually survive without these people. Then from there to 6 months, then 1 year, then you now find out that you don't have that emotional, you're in the same physical space, but in different emotional space.
Absolutely.
So when that becomes normal, then something else replaces that original bond. So people don't just drift like an airplane. Just one little step, you just move, That's why the control tower will keep telling you how far away you are, how far. Because that's why some planes get missing. People don't know where they're looking for them. How can you be looking for a big Boeing 747? It's because just one little off the radar, and then you land in a completely different place. So having said that, so what advice would you give to people who allow the coming of a baby to impact them?
I think let me start with the physical aspect that you talked about.
Yeah.
For me, I'm not praising myself, but I had an understanding even before the baby came that the process of delivery could impact my sexual life. So I was ready to give her that space, And for some men, that's a problem. They can't stay 1 month without having sex with their wife. Some can't stay. I think we stayed 3 months.
Yeah.
Without, because
the
of
situation.
the situation at the point. And there was an understanding because even before we got married, we stayed without doing this. So you can actually learn to stay together, find a way to, enjoy each other without that, because that's not the primary focus of your relationship. So I would say to men out there, especially men, be an understanding husband, because the process of having a child sometimes could impact on the emotional and mental well-being of the women. We've heard about postnatal depression some women go through. So if your role at that point is to support, and this woman knows that you need it. It's not just you needing it, she needs it too. So when her hormones are balanced and she's ready, you will know when she's ready. Then absolutely. you drive on from there.
I want to also add to it, because it is also very important that as women we communicate, because that was something that I did. You ask me, how are you? How are you keeping up? How are you feeling? There. And that was something I would tell you. Because sometimes we take it for granted, that we don't speak to our husbands about how we actually feel. And some people want to hide it and just, from a cultural point of view, they say, no matter your condition as a woman, just make sure you're ready. Just make sure you're ready. Make sure you're ready. But like we've established now that romance is not just, it's not just sex.
Physical side.
There are so many ways to enjoy your spouse and, be with your spouse, and you still have that emotion going. Exactly. So I was able to communicate, and you two were communicating, because you were asking me questions, you were checking in, to know how I was faring, how I was feeling. Because a lot of times when a woman has just had a baby, a lot of they say leave her alone, and she's surrounded by other women who would give multiple advice and tell her what to do and what not to do. And then the men feel, oh, it's a woman's thing, let's just leave them to themselves.
And they feel like they've been isolated. You're around so many people, but you feel lonely. And if care is not taken, the man could recoil. I would use that word, recoil into his shelves. He wouldn't be open anymore.
Or find expression
with external people.
Absolutely.
Sometimes in a state of vulnerability, the man could connect with someone who would understand what he needs and could take advantage of the circumstance
at that point.
And this happens, and in most cases when this happens, it will look like, how could this man do this? There was a gap somewhere. Not necessarily we are blaming anyone here, because it's a choice whatever we do. But let's not create that opportunity for people to make wrong choices.
Absolutely.
So going forward in terms of advising people on this, if you know that you have children or they are coming, understand that they are not more important than your relationship. Invest in those children together. For men, don't say it's a woman's thing. He should take care of the children. No. Both of you should compete. Who should take more care of your children? Because when you do it, you're doing it together.
Absolutely.
And once you're doing it together, it gives you an opportunity to talk about it. Oh, I was with my child today when I was changing the diapers. This is what he or she did. You're talking about it. You're working in it
as a
together.
team. Yes. I also want to say something, because we cannot disregard the importance of knowledge. Sometimes we, like I was saying, all of us got married. We didn't experience marriage before we got married. I didn't experience motherhood until I became a mother. But there is something so profound we can learn from people's experience. Read about it. What's the impact? And there's a lot of information in this day and age. There is so much. There's a myriad of information out there. How do people cope? Get to know what the woman's body is like before and after. Because that the knowledge will arm you, and then exactly, okay, I think the reason why she is like this or a little bit offbeat is because of, this. And then that information really gives you a lot of confidence, and then you're not confused. You know, you're not questioning what is the matter with her, what's the matter with him.
Mm.
You know, you have that info, and even for women, you know, because sometimes we talk about women going through postnatal. I think men as well, they just have a phase, a season where you know they've just seen something that is so
Beyond
unexpected.
them,
I know somebody who became a father for the first time, and he said he didn't
He wasn't
think he was prepared.
for it. Yeah, he thought he was prepared, but when it happened, he knew he wasn't prepared.
Absolutely,
Mm.
and see, have support system.
Mm.
There are couple mentors that you can latch up to, you know, and say, no, we've not done this together, we've not traveled this road before, you know, we want you, and people you can trust, people you can be vulnerable with, because a lot of times we isolate ourselves, you know. Let's tap into that social capital, the network that we have. You want to say something?
Yeah, I want this you're saying now also links to what I wanted to say, which is communication. We are not mind readers. If things are happening, as a man, you realize that the relationship is drifting, the intimacy is not there anymore. Rather than solve, rather than isolate yourself and process it, make up your mind on what the woman is doing. Oh, she's now looking after the children, ignoring me. Talk. Please, let's talk. This is not where we need to be. What's going on? How can we progress from where we are to where we want to be?
Absolutely.
It's important.
So much.
Wow.
That's been great.
It's been an amazing session with you. Thank you. Thank you for being so open. Thank you for being so vulnerable. Thank you for just pouring out, you know, from your wealth of knowledge. And to our audience, I mean, you will agree that they have been amazing. We will leave all of their information in the description box. So if you click on it, it will connect you. You may want to check out their YouTube channel as well, Relationship Builders Forum. They have a wealth of resources that will benefit you.
Absolutely.
It's been amazing doing this. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Thank
for
you for
having
having
us.
us. We could go on and on.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Mm.
We'll be pulling out some of the time.
Okay, until we come your way again, goodbye from us.
Goodbye.